Happy Wednesday, and thank you for joining me. We have kind of a bonus episode this week that I'm super excited for. Normally, I don't talk to guys on this channel, but we are spending a moment with Mavens with Markus today from Stäubli. Super excited to have him. Stäubli and Mavens have partnered up for some of 2025 just to showcase what they're doing because they have been having a hard time breaking into the U.S. market, and they got some exciting things going on. So super excited to have Markus with us here today. If you are tuning in, feel free to drop some comments in the comment section if you have questions for Markus. We're going to be talking about some technical things today, which I'm really super excited for because I'm just nerd for technical information. So at any time, if you have questions, don't be shy, drop them in the comment section and we'll pull them up for you to talk with Markus. But Markus, hello, how are you? Can you hear me?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So thank you for joining us today. So give us some background information about yourself. Tell us who Markus is and what you do at Stäubli.
Okay, sounds great. Yeah. So first of all, a good day to everybody who's listening in today. And also thank you, Megan, for taking the time to speak to me today. So yeah, my name is Markus Weckbach. I'm 36 years old. I have 2 children. I know we had a little brief intro conversation last week and the third one on the way. I currently live in Aledo, Texas, on the west side of Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm originally from Germany, born and raised. Been here in the United States a little bit over 9 years. Started my journey in South Carolina, beautiful South Carolina. Why did I came over from Germany? I was actually transferred to work on a BMW job there. So they actually had a couple of new like automotive lines that they wanted somebody to kind of like help install and be like the technical guy who can answer questions and things like that. So spent 4 years in South Carolina, then moved up to Maryland for 2 years, lived a year in Florida, and now in Texas. I'm a industrial engineer by degree. I did all my bachelor's, master's, and things back in Germany. Came over, didn't have to do any college or whatsoever like here in the US. And outside of work, I like spending time with everything that's active, with the family and the kids. And also like sometimes when I have time, I really enjoy aviation on the side. I know you and I talked a little bit, so I like to hang out at the hangar and talk to peeps about aviation, mainly at the hangar or in the air, just kind of discovering new places that I have not been at before.
That's really cool. So speaking of aviation, if you are ever traveling towards the East Coast and pass over Wisconsin, there's actually a diner called Bessie's, and they are off an airport hangar in Janesville, Wisconsin, and they have really cool food and everything. So if you fly with your family, you can actually fly to that restaurant, land on the runway, and walk to the restaurant and eat at that diner. It's a really cool place if you want to check that. Yeah. Good. So just a side note there. And also speaking of aviation, I don't know anyone who's following me, but recently I took a trip to Nashville and we had to deplane. The police officers surrounded our plane and they actually took someone off of first class because he brought a gun on the airplane. Yeah. So crazy things happening in the aviation world. What makes it exciting and not boring? So Markus, you've been with Stäubli your entire career, correct? Or did you start? So how did you get pulled into that company during your up and coming?
So the location where I lived last in Germany is roughly 10 minutes from where Stäubli's headquarters is in Germany. So during my studies, I actually had the first touch point with Stäubli Robotics, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that, the different branches later. So as of right now, I work for FCS, Fluid Connector Systems, with the tool changer division. But I actually started at Stäubli Robotics because during our studies, there was a requirement to do like a 6-month internship. So I worked in their applications engineering team, did like feasibility studies with their 4- and 6-axis robots for their customers, just making sure that the robots weren't running into any, obstacles or whatsoever. So that's kind of like what I did for 6 months. Then finished my studies, and then I ended up being, starting as a QMC, quick mold change project engineer within the FCS division.
Very cool. And one thing that I really like about the German side of things is you guys have a really great apprenticeship program, and I have talked to a lot of engineers here and manufacturers, and some of them have gone through that apprenticeship program, and I think it's I think it's something the U.S. can aspire to for when we bring more workforce talent into the pipeline. But let's talk about Stäubli. So basically, can you kind of share with us what the scope of Stäubli Group is globally? And like, I have like 4 divisions, correct? So can you just break down that business platform for us so that we can get a better understanding of what you're trying to do here in the United States?
Absolutely. So Stäubli is a Swiss-owned company. It was founded in 1892. So it's, as of right now, 133 years old, so pretty old. It is still family-owned, which we are very proud of. So there is still, the owner, his name is Yves Stäubli, so he's still around. So that's one thing that we always praise ourselves with. Stäubli has, globally speaking, roughly 6,000 employees. And we are present in 28 different countries. We have 15 industrial production sites. And the company consists of 4 different branches, which is the textiles branch. This is also the reason why Stäubli, the North American headquarters, is in Duncan, South Carolina, because that used to be a pretty heavy textiles based territory. But then we have textiles, ECS, that's electrical component systems, FCS, that's who I work for, fluid connector systems, and then also our robotics division. So these are the 4 divisions that we have at Stäubli right now.
Very cool. And how is the partnership with RAM Solutions elevating automotive automation in North America? Because that was one of the things that you touched on in our last conversation.
Exactly, yeah. So RAM Solutions, maybe a short explanation of who is RAM Solutions. RAM Solutions is a distributor based in Troy, Michigan. So obviously like right in the heart of North American automotive in Detroit. They specialize themselves in supplying equipment that can typically be found in automotive weld cells. So what's been very great about RAM Solutions is they used to have a robotic tool changer company on their line card for the last 20 years. So obviously they already know the key players. They know a lot of pain points that the customer base have that we have. So it's very good because the 2 owners of the company, Mitch, obviously he's the president and founded the company, and then also John, who is the director of sales. He used to be a joint or like a weld engineer at Stellantis. So the great thing about RAM Solutions is they don't only bring the perspective of being a classic distributor, but they cover kind of like both sides of the spectrum, because John also brings a little bit of more like automotive end user experience and kind of like shares the pain points what these companies have to go through. So all in all, it's a pretty well-rounded company. The great thing is they have a huge shop floor in the back where they have a FANUC robot that has our MPS 631 tool changer mounted to it. So if anybody ever wants to see like a practical example of an actual tool change with like the coupling and uncoupling of a weld gun, RAM Solutions has a great opportunity to do so.
Very cool. So we're going to be focusing on tool changers for the majority of our conversation, and in the automotive space is pretty much what our focus of this conversation is. But from your perspective and your experience, what are the biggest automation hurdles in manufacturing today, and how do robotic tool changers step in to solve some of those issues?
It's a very good question. Yeah. So typically when a lot of people that we talk to are kind of like in the process engineering field. And when you talk to these guys, the main task that they kind of like are being tasked with right now is obviously like find a way to produce in the most efficient way at the maximum output, and also like in a reduced or small production area at the lowest possible cost. So this is really where robotic tool changers can like enhance the production or the manufacturing aspect of potential customers, because what do robotic tool changers do? They allow the customer to utilize more processes and more tools on a single robot. So your robot could, for instance, be doing some welding at a time, then doing some material handling at a time, then doing some material removal, or even go into inspection. So you can have one robot that can cover like 4 different applications with a single arm. And this is really where robotic tool changers can really like, enhance flexibility and productivity at the same time.
I just saw, it wasn't a Stäubli based robotic tool changer, but I just saw one at assembly with a robotic welding cell, and it was interesting because it was actually switching between the actual welder and then to a robotic gripper, so that once it was done welding the seams, it picked up that part and then was able to move it to whatever location it needed to be moved to. So, but we're here to talk about Stäubli. So can you give us kind of a breakdown of what makes Stäubli's tool changers unique compared to the rest of the industry?
To be honest, I think they're all like very similar in what they do. Obviously, most of them, have a pneumatically operating locking unit for the piston to kind of like lock and unlock, and then you got a bunch of like modules around, which typically passes the media through the tool changer that you need to have at your end of arm tooling. So that's really the one thing, but everybody does it a little bit different. I think what's really like outstanding for Stäubli is really like the safety aspect. So obviously there's a DIN ISO out there. It's the 10218 that deals with safety requirements for industrial robots. That typically like tells us what do we need to like comply with in terms of safety. And Stäubli has like 3 different types of like accomplishing or like complying with that DIN ISO 10218 norm that's out there. So we have a technology which is called active docking, which is a fully pneumatic way of achieving performance level D category 3. That's currently the standard in automotive for safety. Then we have transponder technology. That's pretty much what all the other market competitors are also like complying with. And then one thing that's also a little bit outstanding about Stäubli is we even have a performance level D category 3 solution for the small payload range for our robotic tool changers, where typically others only like kind of start at the, let's say like 300 kilogram and up kind of like payload size. We have a modular concept, so everybody who would look at a Stäubli unit would see ours looks a little bit different. Why is the modular concept a great thing? Because it allows you to match a robot dress pack and also enhance your application at a later stage. So we are actually able, if somebody tells us, hey, this is the dress pack that I have, we can match that with our modules. Or if later down the road you decide to like add another application to your like current robot that you're using, you can also do that by just adding another module or two, whatever the application requires.
Very cool.
Yeah, one more thing that we really also like highlight a lot is our repeatability. So we use 3 guiding columns on our tool side, which is like the side that attaches to the end of arm tool, where you can see these columns like really guide the both halves together, the robot and the tool side. And our like piston really like travels fully through the tool side, which is why we always say we have a backlash-free locking unit that achieves an outstanding repeatability of plus minus 0.01 millimeters, which is obviously for best fit applications like you want to have it in resistant spot welding. A great thing to have.
You just mentioned resistant spot welding. So can you talk about what that is and why it's still a vital thing that manufacturers are doing?
So if you maybe I have a question for you. We're going to turn the thing around for a second. What do you think, how many weld spots does a typical body in white car consist of like nowadays? What would you think?
It's got to be over thousands, right?
That's correct, yes. So it's typically between 5,000 and 6,000 weld spots per body in white. So
that's crazy.
So that kind of like answers the question, why is resistant spot welding so important? Because obviously you are like looking at a very highly automated process. So like resistant spot welding in automotive and body in white is a 90% automated process with robots. So that's why you find such a high density, robot density in automotive body in white. And why is it still vital, like up to date? Because resistance spot welding, you have high speed, you have a very good strength, you are very cost effective, and you have really good suitability for mass production of sheet metal joints. This is really why this technology is still up to date like nowadays and very important.
So is it mostly commonly used then in like the welding of the entire body of the car, or where else is it used in automotive?
Yes, pretty much, yes.
Okay, so outside of that, with the spot welding, are there any other examples where your customers are using the robotic tool changer? I know we're focusing mostly on automotive, but are there any other types of industries that they're being used in outside of automotive?
Yeah, I would think we usually distinguish between automotive and general industry, as we call it. But I mean, I would say, for instance, metal production, welding, stamping, you will find them. Plastics, like ultrasonic welding and drilling, for instance. Electronic industry, semiconductor, just for pure material handling tasks. Food has tool changers for packaging or material handling. Aerospace is a pretty big one, especially material handling, drilling, NDT, non-destructive testing is pretty big on there. And then obviously, like, automotive is probably the biggest one, with automotive body in white.
Do you have any specific like case studies that you can share with us? I know this can be a difficult question because there are a ton of NDAs that companies can't share specific, but are there specific projects that come to mind where your tool changer really made a difference for the application it was used for?
I would really encourage everybody who's really interested in this, go on YouTube and just put in like Stäubli robotic tool changer, and you will find maybe not a ton, but like you said, those are the ones that we have permission from the customer side to kind of like, share pictures and videos and sorts of these things. But there's definitely a few out there where I think people really specifically talk like, what did Stäubli add to their like manufacturing process, and where could we really help to maybe like solve problems.
I'm gonna be creating a recap article for this episode after we get off the video chat, but just so people know, I'll make sure to include that YouTube link in there. And don't be shy to subscribe to the channel. That really helps companies, especially with monetization. So I'm always a huge fan of like telling people to subscribe to channels. Well, when it comes to coupling tech and validation, what does coupling technology competence mean at Stäubli for you guys?
Well, I would say, like, I think one thing that's very unique about Stäubli is, I mean, we've been doing quick connect and quick disconnect technology for like decades. So we've been around. We have like heavily been investing in like R&D. So one thing that's really outstanding about the Stäubli tool changers is they are made from all Stäubli components. Everything that you see on this tool changer has been designed and manufactured by Stäubli. So compared to other competitors out in the field who are more like, I would say, robotic companies who can maybe like more, comply with the demands and requests that robotic companies have, we're more like a connector company based on our history. So like the way that we really believe in like not just supplying some sort of connectors to the people, we really are trying to get the people like the best and the highest quality out there to like really make sure that they're receiving their maintenance is kind of like low, or like the lowest possible, and obviously like their production output is kind of like the highest because they're not experiencing any failures or due to like low quality connectors.
How do you test then for validation and ensure safety and performance?
So as I mentioned earlier, so you got the DIN ISO norm 10218 that kind of like defines on like what do we have to comply with. So obviously all of our like safety technologies that are out there are all like TÜV certified. So it's not just that we kind of like go out there and say, hey, this is the testing that we did. We have TÜV certificates for all of these. Obviously that's also something that's being asked for by a lot of customers like nowadays. And yeah, I just think safety in general is becoming more and more important. Obviously it's the world's trying to get more automated to like maybe get like manufacturing and costs down to like be able to like offer more product at a more competitive price. So obviously more automation also means like more safety in one regard. So this is really something that we have kind of always been looking for other opportunities. We just heavily invested in our like US entity in terms of like testing equipment. So not specifically for, I know we focus more on like robotic tool changers, but if you would look in our IT cooling business segment, where we do a lot of like quick disconnects for like high performance computer and data centers, just for like maintenance, we now have an ISO 8 class clean room technology where we like manufacture these. So the thing is, we're really like investing into our location in North America to like streamline also like testing and validation processes that we already have in place in Europe and in Asia.
Very cool. So in terms of the automation industry, we've already talked about the robotic tool changers. Are there any other specific products that are branded Stäubli that anybody can see on the factory floor? And what else can, your customers expect coming down the pipeline?
I would think you probably will see more like the mono and the multi-connection systems than the robotic tool changers like here in the US. In Europe and in Asia, we're like very well known. But like you said in the beginning, North America has kind of like been a higher priority for us in the last couple of years. So this is really what we have been trying to accomplish. But honestly, everywhere you have machinery that needs to like connect and disconnect in a quick way and fashionable way, that's typically where you can find like Stäubli quick disconnects like on the floor. So anywhere you need a transfer, I always say like fluids, any types of air, liquids, IOs for signal and servo, and any types of machines, die casting machines, injection molding machines, giga casting machines, and then obviously like an automotive body in white with like framing, gate applications, and robotic tool changers.
Very cool. Well, one of the big shows that are coming up down the pipeline is Automate in Detroit this year. And it's a fantastic show. And Stäubli is going to be exhibiting there. And they're going to be booth 2232. So anyone that's going there, make sure to stop by 2232. But can you kind of give us a teaser of what attendees can expect if they come and visit your booth at Automate?
Absolutely. So traditionally, Stäubli FCS has always been a part of Stäubli Robotics when they are going to Automate and exhibiting. And that's one thing that I really just want to make clear, like just up front. It's often the case that people think in the automation industry that Stäubli tool changers can only be together with Stäubli robots. But that's not the case. It's for all payloads, for all robots. In fact, you will probably more often see in automotive a Stäubli tool changer on a robot that's not a Stäubli robot, because Stäubli robots are more like for quick, high speed, high accuracy, and they're more going like towards niche applications like pharma, food. So that being said, on the booth, you will see a lot of application cells showcasing our 4 and 6 axis robots from the robotics department. And then from the FCS side, you will see, mono quick disconnects that are commonly used in the automotive industry. We have an automatic multi-coupling display over there, which means you have a lot of like single quick disconnects on a plate being driven together by a cylinder to make that connection all at once. And then obviously robotic tool changer wise, we're showing everything from like small payload, which goes to 55 kilogram in our definition, to medium-sized payload, which goes to 350 kilograms, to large-sized payload, which goes up to 2,500 kilograms.
Very cool. Well, Markus, you have spent a lot of time in this industry and a lot of time with Stäubli since you first started your journey. So can you kind of just give us some, personal insight on what the most exciting part of your job is working with all of this technology?
I really like automation in general. Why do I like automation? Because I think automation really adds to the prosperity that we currently like see in the world. Because obviously everybody wants to buy certain everyday products at a competitive price, and obviously like we need to find ways to automate that to increase safety for people. If you think about nuclear dismantling and stuff, these are things that no human wants to do that. So obviously like we're trying to like find robots or other automated equipment that can do these things for us. So I would think it's really just seeing that we can contribute to the automation industry in general and the world's prosperity by helping people to acquire products at an affordable price.
So with all of the innovations that are happening, like AI is being talked about everywhere, do you have a specific automation innovation right now that's your favorite?
I would say probably there's probably two. One is really, and obviously working heavily in automotive, I would say it's probably the giga casting that's kind of like coming up. Yeah, but we can talk about that a little bit later if you want. But I would think the other one is just like the 4 mega trends that are kind of driving automotive right now. So like electrification, obviously, the decarbonization of the world. We're seeing more and more high voltage battery applications. I know obviously with the revised fuel standards right now, it's a little bit of a different shift, and automotive is a little bit uncertain, I would say, the whole automotive industry in general. But then obviously autonomous driving is another big one, connectivity between systems, and then obviously mobility redefinition. Like, what is 2030 going to look like in terms of public transportation versus ride sharing? Are we going to have some other, possibilities that are being incorporated to kind of work on that automotive shift?
I'm still unsure about autonomous driving. Like, it still kind of freaks me out, but I know I've been on things that have been autopiloted before, and I have rode in the Tesla that was not being controlled by the steering wheel because they put it on autopilot. But I'm still, we saw an autonomous car in Nashville recently just driving on its own, and I'm just like, I just don't know. I just don't know if I'm there yet. But I live in a place where drivers are not really friendly on the road, so it's like, I don't know if I could do that. But with the giga casting, what is it about that really gets you excited?
So obviously, like, maybe you talk a little bit about what is giga casting. So manufacturers of electric vehicles are obviously like trying to reduce cost, reduce weight. These are kind of like, the main things that they're looking at. So giga casting is actually a possibility, like the Model Y from Tesla, to like really cast the entire body out of like just a few single components. So what they're doing right now, they're casting the entire rear of the car just out of like one piece, which helps them. And that's kind of like also a little bit of threat, obviously, to joining technologies, the classic ones that we know nowadays. Because if you think about, you don't need all these amount of robots, weld robots and things anymore if you are able to kind of cast the entire rear body out of like one machine, instead of having a ton of robots kind of, picking up sheet metal, doors, hoods, side bodies, whatever, and kind of like weld that together. So that's really like one thing. And you really see like very, very strong compound annual growth rates in these industries, like die casting, giga casting. So it's definitely an industry that's kind of like coming up, and I'm really excited to see like where it's going to stand in a couple of years. Is
it just with the giga casting? Is it all plastic then materials, or is there metal materials that they can do that with?
It's molten metal. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. I'm like not familiar with that. So now I have to do more research after this because I haven't known about that. So that's super cool. Yep. Well, in terms of the workforce, because, there is a lot of misconceptions and kind of negative conversations around, how automation is taking jobs away and not really giving people an opportunity to pursue positions in manufacturing and engineering. One of the stories that I like clung on to when it happened was the dock strikes that happened because all the dock workers thought that automation was sort of taking jobs away. And I was getting a little irritated with the comments happening on LinkedIn because everybody's like, well, shouldn't they know like the benefits of what automation would provide for them? Well, no, because we're not really doing a great job on our end educating the workforce about some of these benefits that automation can provide them. So what sort of advice do you have for that next generation workforce in terms of automation and robotics and the opportunities that these advanced technologies are going to be providing for the sector as a whole?
I think you really hit the nail on the head when you said, kind of it's our job to really like educate the people. I feel like I think an advice for everybody kind of like working in that type of environment is just be adaptable. It's a very dynamic environment. Lots of things are like happening without like very short amount of times. And that's really where, we just need to be adaptable. It's like maybe what was great technology wise 10 years ago is maybe not up to date anymore like nowadays. And obviously, yes, robots will take away jobs from people, but that used to do it like traditional manual work. But as I said before, I really think obviously manual work is it's unpredictable. People can get sick. So like I think automation definitely has its right place in the industry and what it does. But as you said, it's definitely like our job to like educate the people out there. But I think it's really overall advice that I can give. I would say like I don't know, just like the classic things. If you work in the inside sales, manage your time effectively, I would say. Focus on understanding your products very well. If you work in the outside sales, one thing that I've kind of seen over the years is one of the best attributes that people in sales can have is just like be very empathetic, like understand what the customers need, like, their needs, because that will increase your success for sale tremendously if you actively listen what the people need and you're trying to like understand where the pain points are. That's like one thing I think that I can kind of maybe pass along to the people out there who are trying to transition from inside to outside, or maybe like going straight to an outside sales position. But I think that's that's probably like main advice I can give.
Well, before I let you go, Markus, is there anything that we didn't cover or anything else that you would like to add? And while you're thinking about that, we did have a couple comments come in. Attic said very informative. And then Bill Oliver, excellent interview. See you at Automate, Megan and Markus. We'll see you there too, Oliver. Thanks for tuning in. But anything that we didn't get a chance to cover that you were itching to cover or talk about?
No, I think that's it. Like I said, I'm really excited for Automate this year. Like I said, we are typically very well known to have a good coffee. So anybody who wants to have a chat about robotics, automation, or whatsoever, 2232, feel free. We're excited to see you guys. And what else can you expect there? I would say a highly motivated sales team that is trying to like help you focus on your pain points and find good solutions.
You already sold me because I love a good cup of coffee, so I will definitely be by the booth. Well, Markus, thank you so much. For anyone tuning in, what is the quickest way to connect with you or Stäubli if they have any questions or want to set up an appointment to visit your booth at Automate?
I would say we have a good presence over there, so just feel free to swing by. And if I'm going to be walking somewhere around, I'll maybe just like drop I don't know. We'll scan your badge and I'll get in touch with you. But I would think other than that, we definitely have a lot of like business cards. I know it's kind of like old fashioned, but sometimes it's very, very handy to have some of them. So we'll have them around like at our front desk. And I think there's enough opportunity, I think, to get in touch with us.
Very cool. Well, Markus, thank you again. We did have a LinkedIn user, great conversation. You have your settings set up where LinkedIn doesn't like you and showing your face on there, but whoever this is, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. But Markus, thank you so much to anyone tuning in. Again, that booth number is 2232. They will be at Automate exhibiting all of their products. I will be there as well too. I'm going to be swinging by and hopefully doing a booth tour with Esther, who is part of their marketing team. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Markus, it was great talking to you. Congratulations on the arrival of your new baby coming soon. I wish you and your wife the best of luck with that. 3 is a number. I have 3 kids too. You're going to probably not get any more sleep after a while. So congratulations on that.
Thanks you
guys. Have a great day. And tomorrow we have another episode with Siemens. So be sure to tune in for that episode. Bye, everyone.
That's good. Thanks, everybody.
This episode of Mavens in Manufacturing has been sponsored by Z-Ink Solutions. Z-Ink Solutions. This isn't your grandmother's copywriting service. We provide copywriting and copy editing services that provide impactful text and memorable storytelling for a variety of brands and industries. Contact us today at zincssolutions.com. That's z-inksolutions.com.